He's into it. He's very quick over the 100 meters, but can he clear the hurdles quite so quickly as well? Umizak is and Yuraboyev is looking really strong for Uzbekistan. Coming back very strongly now is the man from Uzbekistan, who finishes just behind Jaden, who takes his second win in 6 events after claiming the 100 meters. He now gets the 110-meter hurdles as well, does Jaden, and that's a great run from the Singaporean youngster. He's not going to earn the number of points that would see him necessarily claim a lead overall, but Jack, when it's so incredibly tight, he can see himself shifting from 4th right the way up the leaderboard very quickly with a run like that.
And it's a return to how we started, with Jaden Nung winning the 100 metres. Since then, he's had a 3rd, a 4th, a 5th, and another 4th. So at the start of day 2 in the decathlon, it's a return to business as usual for Jaden Nung, throwing himself into contention again. And he is quick, isn't he? He has that flatline speed, but technically good enough over these hurdles. It was good to see in those centre lanes Askar Omizak as well, doing what he could, but also Juraboyev of Uzbekistan featuring strongly over these hurdles.
Aladil Baki, who's been really strong in the field events, just a little further behind, but these three well clear, ahead of Juraboyev, ahead of Umizak, and then 4th is the man who's 2nd overall at the moment, Aladil Baki, and then 5th and 6th, Mironov and Albater making their way across the line. Now all the points that are cumulatively tallied together are determined by the times, determined by the heights, determined by the distances achieved by the athletes in the individual disciplines. But athletes need to compete in all these disciplines in order to be included in the final classification. So this is a session that will see only competition in the decathlon taking place. We will have a few breaks in between just to allow the competitors to recover. We've got the 110-meter hurdles, the discus throw, and the pole vault for decathlon all taking place. That's events numbers 6, 7, and 8 in this morning's session. It's going to be a grueling session for these youngsters. Discus and pole vault, both very technical disciplines. Jaden gets off to a really good start. Very impressive. I've been so impressed, and I can't say this enough. By this was the false start initially, but Abbas Munir Abdul Baki, for me, has just been one of the standout performers, Jack, because he's 15 years old, and I've spoken of how difficult it is just to master the technical abilities, the dynamics, the nuances of one discipline. At 15, to try to be able to master 10 different disciplines, that is something else. And for me, Abdul Baki has been one of the standouts, regardless of where he finishes come the end of this competition, and he's still very much in with a shot at winning the gold medal, never mind a place on the podium.
And Saudi Arabia, Dwayne, have a good track record at these Asian Championships in the decathlon. They've won the bronze medal on 2 separate occasions, including 2022 with Sajid Ahmed Ali Al-Khazali, and also in the inaugural edition back in 2015, Ahmed Yassin Al-Yassin. So he's following in that tradition, but to do it and to be in this kind of position at the start of day 2 at 15, it is worth talking more and more about him, and to see and keep special track on him across today, to see how that endurance side of his performance fares out across the events we've got to come, and the discus throw up next, of course, which well, it's a throwback to testing the strength as well, but there's so much technical skill in that as well, and his speed not in question, but adding that ability over hurdles, something which he'll of course improve on year, and he could have 2 more returns, 2 more participations in the under-18 championship, maybe 2 more, certainly 1 more, but he's a young man going places.
He is indeed. Chen romping to victory here, though, just ahead of Juraboev. And that's a really good run from Chen of Singapore, based at the Singapore Sports School, which has become the fundamental and base of so many athletes who make their way through the system in Singapore. Man who's in some form as well. He set his personal best of 5,716 points just a few weeks ago in New Zealand. He's on course to better that. And it's about how he goes with his technical abilities being tested here. Just to confirm the results then, Chen ahead of Juraboev, ahead of Omirzak in 14.30, 14.33 and 14.40 respectively. Then Al Abdulbaki with 15.05, 16.17 for Albater, and Mironov with 16.18. So those times will now be converted to points, and those points will be added to the points they've already accumulated throughout the first 5 events during the opening day of competition. And maybe, just maybe, we'll start to see a little bit more of a gap developing now between the competitors, given the results of this race. But it's certainly Juraboev who's going to be leading the way through 6 events into the discus throw, which is to come. Another thing to consider there is you'll notice 2 flags of Kazakhstan, 2 flags of Saudi Arabia, and then the individual flag of Singapore and Uzbekistan. When you're competing with a teammate, it is so much easier. It takes a lot of pressure off the young athletes. And I think that's something to consider, and certainly great for the likes of Umizak and Mironov for Kazakhstan, and for Saudi Arabia's Albater and Al Abdulbaki. The mental strength is tested of Juraboev and Ng, who look to be leading the way at the moment. Certainly through the 110-meter hurdles, as he claimed his 2nd win of the events in the decathlon through 6.
And Dwayne, that gap that possibly might open up between 4th position and 5th and 6th could well close up again, because Nikita Mironov's strength from yesterday was his jumping. He won the high jump competition. We've got the pole vault to come in this session. So even if the discus isn't necessarily quite his strength, he has a chance at the end of this session to then make things as close with just 2 events to come as they have been at the start of today, with that 287 point gap. It could, just as we think there might be a pattern developing, things could be jumbled up once again after that pole vault competition.
That's spot on. That is spot on. Pole vault is definitely one of the events that separate the competitors. Usually high jump and pole vault, the clearing the vertical heights is where competitors falter. Not that this is an event where you're looking for competitors to falter, but it's genuinely an all-round test of so many different sets of abilities. The technical skills and endurance will be tested today.
This is where we've been for the last 3 days and into the final day today, the Prince Naif Sports City for the 6th Asian Under-18 Athletics Championships Saudi 2025. First time these championships have been held in Saudi Arabia. They've been all over Qatar. Back in 2015, they flew the flag. Then it was Thailand in Bangkok in 2017. Hong Kong after that in 2019. Kuwait, which is relatively just up the road, just a few hours in a car from where we are now, along the northern coastline here. They held this competition in 2022. And then Uzbekistan, for the first time we headed to Central Asia in Tashkent in 2023. Saudi Arabia is a return to warmer climes, certainly, and that has had its influence in some of the times that we've seen, especially depending on when races have been run. Championship records have been taken here, and some haven't been challenged because of some that were set in Tashkent just can't be reached in this kind of environment. But there's been a lot to enjoy over the last 3 days, and day 4 scheduled to do just the same to us. We're going to be getting going shortly in the next event in the boys under 18 decathlon. It will be the discus throw. We've had the 110-metre hurdles this morning, and after nearly a 40-minute break since they last competed, it's time for the second throwing event in the decathlon. And yesterday we had the shot put, and that shot put event won by Uzbekistan's Jahongir Juraboyev. He was the top thrower on day one, and Juraboyev in first position overall, so a great chance for him to affirm that at the top of the leaderboard. Saudi Arabian delegation with two competitors, of course, in the decathlon, and at the moment, one of them in Al-Dabaki is in second position as well. Here's Askar Omizak of Kazakhstan, and from Uzbekistan, sitting pretty at the top of the leaderboard is Jahongir Juraboyev. But it's a very, very close field, this, and even at the start of day two, nothing being strung out yet. Dwayne DeLocca, the throwing events might be one of those events that can separate the field.
Yes, certainly the second of the throwing events is the discus throw after the shot put on day one of competition. There's a maximum of 1,500 points up for grabs, but you'd need to go out around 80 metres to be able to collect 1,500 points. So we're not going to be seeing anywhere near that, I would imagine. So we're around 800 or 900 points might very well be the maximum for the boys in this decathlon event. This is event number 7. Through 6 events, the athletes are separated by 505 points now. So we're starting to see a little bit more of the spreading in the leaderboard after the 110-metre hurdles. And certainly into day 2, there are elements of fatigue, endurance, stamina that start to come into play. But this is a day that very much tests the technical abilities and technical skills of the athletes. Endurance as well, undoubtedly. Bear in mind, these athletes are going to finish the day, finish the decathlon. The 10th event will be 1,500 metres on the track. That is an utterly grueling event to conclude 2 days of intense competition. But the discus throw, you're right in saying, should start to see the field separated by even more. Juraboyev will be fancied to continue his upward momentum and upward trajectory. He's well on course to break his personal best, sits on 4,357 points through 6 events at the moment. And that is a really good result for the 16-year-old from Uzbekistan. And after that shot put win, he'll be looking for the victory in the discus as well. It's competitors like Jaden Ng who know that maybe they don't have quite the physical strength of some of the other competitors in the field. They've got many other skills and abilities, but trying to master the technical aspect of discus is perhaps a little easier than shot put, where it's a lot more raw power. Yes, there are technical aspects involved in every single sport, but the dynamics and nuances differ from sport to sport and from discipline to discipline across the athletics field and track events. But this is set to be another cracker of a competition. The discus throw is set to start shortly.
The throwing events do highlight that difference in the skills from day 1 to day 2, Dwayne. Endurance and technical skills focused on today, as you mentioned, and the speed and strength of yesterday. That shot put, that raw power that you see, technique obviously important, but perhaps not quite so many fine motor skills involved as you will see in the discus, in the way the discus is released. So, and then of course the javelin to come after that.
Indeed, another of the throwing events. And the final throwing event will be the javelin, which will be contested a little later on after the pole vault event. The pole vault will be the last of the events that goes in the morning session. The flag of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia waves proudly as they so brilliantly have hosted this event for the very first time, the Asian Under-18 Athletics Championships. And Saudi 2025 has seen some remarkable performances throughout competition, and I'm almost sad that we're down to the final day of competition, because I'd like to see so much more of what has already been showcased as great emerging talent in Asian athletics from the 17 different countries that have medalled at these championships so far, right the way through to countries who haven't yet medalled at these championships, who've been putting in some excellent performances and agonizingly close to medals in certain events. A country like Kyrgyzstan still searching for its first ever medal, but there have been some very promising performances from some of the young Kyrgyzstan athletes. But the eyes, I suppose, have always been on the powerhouses, and China is very much the powerhouse of these games. They lead the medal standings with 15 gold medals. There's some of our compatriots, or some of our fellow commentators doing duty as we get underway in the discus.
Yeah, the first man to throw, Ali Hassan Al-Bartha of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, 32 for his opening throw. Each competitor will throw 3 times. So we'll have 18 throws across the 6 competitors. And Nikita Mironov to go up next. Al-Bartha and Mironov sitting in 5th and 6th in the standings. So if they can overhaul their performances in the shot put and do better here, will stand them in better stead for a challenge at the medal. Here is Mironov, won the high jump yesterday. It's quite a low flight to the trajectory of the discus. Needs to take flight, of course. Needs to maximise the possible angle of ascent to then get the distance when we come down. 27.59 from Mironov. But the release element of the discus takes so much fine tuning in training. And for those who specialise in the discus, that part of the event takes an enormous amount of their focus and preparation. Ideally, the arm will rotate around at about a horizontal release, and that's looking good from Djuraboev. Nice shape to his spin, and the release was clean. And so Djuraboev happy with that. He won the shot put, 41.61 for his first throw here. So comfortably in the lead by almost 10 metres over Al-Bartha. Omizak may well be his closest competitor. He was in the shot put. Now that's not going to be recorded, out of bounds. No measurement. When you've only got 3 throws, Omizak's not being on the board at the first attempt is, well, it is a bit of an issue, bit of a worry.
Yeah, you're right with that. You don't want a no measurement anywhere in your series of events, because that will genuinely hurt your medal challenges, and it can take somebody who's currently in second, like Omizak is, and take him right out of contention, leave him bottom of the pile. As Jaden steps up, 4th overall currently, the Singaporean.
How much of a technician can he be in the circle here? Because that could really level things up, but that's not going to be a measurement either. The release far too early from Jaden, who we've just seen flying over hurdles, winning the 110-metre hurdles this morning, but not flying out of the blocks in the next event. Abbas Al-Abdulbaki, 15-year-old from Saudi Arabia, lying in second.
Abadi from Saudi Arabia.
did really well in the shot put, and that looks like a much more promising start than a couple of throws that we've just seen. That's a lovely shape to it, and it just went even further than it felt like it would. The trajectory of that was perhaps not quite as good as the distance that he's gone at 36.37, so he is into second place.
Yeah, the discus wobbling a bit as it came out. If he can improve the release point just a little more, he's got the right angles, he's got some good speed, but a little wobble on the disc, and that'll see it come out just a little shorter than it might have done otherwise. He's not too far away from it being a really good discus throw. As his compatriot steps up now, Albater.
So Albater was pretty good as well with his opener. 32.32 he's aiming to beat. But he's not going to do that with his second attempt, 29.09.
Given the number of no measurements we've had so far, though, it's not too bad a result just to keep plugging away, getting distances recorded. All these distances, all these times, all these heights are converted to points, an equivalent number of points. Those points are then subsequently tallied, give you a cumulative result. There's Askar Obirzak of Kazakhstan, the 16-year-old who won the 400 meters so brilliantly that he finds himself as one of those athletes who doesn't have a measurement currently. His compatriot Mironov steps up now.
He get on the board with his first. Didn't look totally convincing. That looks much better, more cohesive across the whole throw, and that's certainly gone a bit further than his first attempt. It is Kazakhstan who won the Decathlon in 2023 in Tashkent, of all places, in Uzbekistan. Ivan Sening, the champion a few years ago, 29.42, so an improvement for Milanov. Doesn't enhance the position he was in, but he's protected it a bit, almost edging up onto the 30-meter mark. Now, the leader, by a long way, 41 meters, 61 centimeters with his first throw, Jahongir Jurabayev. Now that's going to reinforce his position, isn't it? That is going to, if nothing else, make everyone around the circle know that this is the man who is far and away the leader here. 43.22, he has enlarged his lead over 10 meters further than anyone else has thrown. And it comes out of the hands so cleanly, Dwayne, with Jurabayev.
Yeah, just watching that wonderful clean rotation of the disc at a really good angle as well. Gives himself the opportunity to get it out as far as he possibly can.
This is important. Omizak of Kazakhstan needs to land this, and he has. And that's much, much better. What a vast improvement. It was all out of kilter with his first throw, but this is Omizak's statement that he's coming to the competition. Jurabayev, 35.55 into second position. So it's still 8 meters short of that man there on the left, Jurabayev. But Omizak now, with his third throw to come, can really take the brakes off and absolutely go for it. Having missed his first throw, there was an element that he just needs to get something on the board there to protect himself. Jae Nun of Singapore. He needs to get on the board here, and he has done. And scored his last throw. 24.66. So it's at the back of the field with that, but he's likewise on the board. Abdul Baki and Dwayne, everyone now recording a throw at least, so nothing's going to undo them from that regard with fouls and no measurements.
Yes, thankfully. You want to see that. You want to see all competitors stay within the competition in order to be included in that final classification. That looks much better.
Well, is that going to go further then for Abdul Baki? And him and Omizak now are potentially running very close to each other. Oh, he's gone further, and that shores up his second position. Heading into the final round.
Excellent technique. Keeps low for a tall man, which is so very important. Gets his rotation, good speed in this 2.5 meter diameter circle. Final attempts now for the athletes, starting with Alberto here.
Earlier release than we've seen previously. He's headed straight down the middle mostly. That was ever so slightly earlier. Looking to beat 32-32. And he has done. 34-02 for Alberto. Certainly enough for fourth position. With Albatha currently at the back of the field, overall in sixth, a fourth would be useful in his duel against the likes of Milanov. Nikita Milanov into the circle now, aiming to go further than 29-42, his last bet, but can he beat Albatha with something a little bit longer? No. But he's going to beat his best so far. This is over 30 meters, 31.60. He is in fifth position, ahead of Jaden Unn, with Unn's last throw to come. Now, what's in store for us here with Jahangir Juraboyev? 43-22. He's the far and away leader, ahead of Askar Omirzak and Abbas Al-Abdul Baki. Seems in the mood this morning, doesn't he, to go bigger? Oh yeah, big cry to help it on its way. Over 40 meters again, no problem. But probably not beyond his best so far. Still three excellent throws from Uzbekistan's Juraboyev. That the shortest of the three, still 40.88. So heading for another first place in a throwing competition, the leader in the decathlon.
Excellent technique. Using 1.5 spins before releasing the discus. But he builds up so much speed. What can Omirzak do?
Can he challenge him? That's going to fall well short. So only with one score on the board, and this was the attempt to try and really go for it, and the technical side of his throw falling away at that part, but he's in second. Sorry, he's in third, excuse me. Abbas Al-Abdul Baki is the man in second. Getting ready for his last throw. But first, Jaden Unn of Singapore. So at the moment in last position in the discus, and things will stay there. He has recorded a distance at least, 24.66 in the second round. He'll be in sixth position. 6 from 6 for Jaden Ung. Not his discipline today. Certainly his discipline this morning in the 110-meter hurdles, which he won. Abbas Al Abdul Baki then, the last contender to go. Has to beat 43.22 if he is to win this event. That's Juraboev's furthest. That will be some considerable distance required to add to his best so far, but he'll fall just short of that. He's 35 meters there or so. 36.41. So very consistent from Abbas Al Abdul Baki, but he stays in second position.
Well, that was a really excellent series from Juraboev. I think one of the great things is, though, for Al Abdul Baki, he hasn't won an event, but he's been consistently in the top 2-3 in every event, effectively, while he finished fourth in the 110-meter hurdles. I mean, what he's shown is a remarkable consistency, and that's kept him in a position where he's likely to go into the final few events, currently in silver medal position. It's been quite a series from the 15-year-old, the youngest competitor in the field. But now what these athletes have need to do is put whatever is done in the discus behind them, most notably for Jaden Ung. I mean, you can see the body language has changed so completely. He was smiling and bouncing after his victory in the 110-meter hurdles, but now finishes sixth in the discus, and he looks crestfallen. His head is bowed low. The officials, they've done their job. There's a man for the future. Al Abdul Baki, just 15 years old, and he's already showing tremendous consistency in this testing discipline. But look at the body language of Jaden Ung alongside him. Really looks downcast and disconsolate after his performance in the discus. He knows he could have done better.
Confirmation of the final distances as well. Juraboev winning 43.22 by some distance over Al Abdul Baki, 37.34, and Askar Omerzak's 35.55. That was close with Ali Hassan Alberthar's first throw, so good consistency from the two Saudi Arabian decathletes, Mironov and Jaden Ung at the back in this one. But I can't wait, Dwayne, to see how Al Abdul Baki does in the javelin throw as well, because his throwing capacity, which you wouldn't necessarily have thought would be as it is at this tender age, given that the technical requirements, particularly of the discus, but he was third in the shot put, now second in the discus, and it's going to be exciting to see what's in his locker for the javelin.
It'll be very exciting to see. I've genuinely been so impressed with Al Abdul Baki, and I think he can take an enormous amount of pride from this competition, regardless of where he ends up finishing, whether it's gold, silver, bronze, or even out of the medals, depending on what happens in the three remaining events. But I tell you what, he can take an enormous amount of pride for the way he has performed. He's going to be an ambassador for Saudi Arabia, you suspect, in decathlon in years to come if he sticks at it. And I'd like to see him do that. I think his consistency tells a story that he is a great all-round athlete. The fact that he's not dominating in just one or two disciplines tells the story that he is capable of being genuinely competitive in this. Now, these competitors will take a little bit of a break now. They will have a little bit of an opportunity to rest, and then they get back to it with a pole vault in this session. So a very grueling session after the 110-meter hurdles and the discus to now take on the pole vault event, which is very physically demanding as well. As we take a look back, Jack, at Juraboev and his star style.
And it was a different class, wasn't it, Juraboev, in this particular event? Everyone has their speciality. but he really stood head and shoulders above the opposition here. And distance, of course, by around about 7 meters more than anyone else was able to throw. And Abdul Baki with so much promise here as well, as we can see, really cleanly out of the release. And Al Batha as well with his first throw. 34 meters that he ended with in fourth. But it's become a Central Asian speciality in the recent editions at the Under-18 Asian Athletics Championships, with Kazakhstan winning in the last edition in Tashkent in Uzbekistan, and Uzbekistan winning in 2022. Saudi Arabian skills are leading to a challenge to that with Al Abdul Baki, no doubt about it. But Asghar Ahmadazak with his only discus throw that was measured.
It's amazing that this technique is now used so very, very widely, because it was a rotation technique, wasn't the initial technique that was used in the modern discus, but a Czech athlete by the name of František Jandasuk ended up devising the technique when he studied the position of that famous statue, the Disco Bolus, by Myron, the great sculptor, and came up with this technique that is now used universally. And after only a year of developing the technique, he won silver at the Olympic Games in 1900, incidentally. But it's now mastering the technique for these young competitors. Discus behind them, though. I'll need to focus on mastering the technique of the pole vault to come. This is a lovely technique. Watch it. Just 1.5 spins in the circle. So he keeps himself well grounded, relatively low, good bend at the knee, builds up enough speed to gain momentum through the throw, and a good release point as well for Djuraboev, who claims the discus his second win through 7 events in the decathlon.
dépanneur d'un CM, mec. الله معك.
So the medal standings for you at the Asian Under-18 Athletics Championships of 2025. China are leading the way. They have 15 gold medals, 29 medals in total. They've been the dominant force of these championships. Japan, 3 gold medals. Uzbekistan, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia, also multiple gold medal winners at these championships. While the likes of Singapore, Kazakhstan, Hong Kong, China, last night, a fantastic gold medal. And United Arab Emirates, a first ever gold medal. Mariam Karim in the women's under-18 400-meter hurdles. Sri Lanka, they've got 3 medals. Lebanon find themselves on the podium twice at these championships. Vietnam, Korea Republic, Islamic Republic of Iran, Chinese Taipei, and Kuwait, the other nations that have claimed medals. No golds as yet, though, for countries like Republic of Korea and Islamic Republic of Iran. Chinese Taipei as well, who've got a very healthy record at these championships. They're among the best competitors overall. 22 gold medals for Chinese Taipei in the previous 5 editions of these championships. We focus our attention on the decathlon. We're through 7 events, and the man leading the way, well, there's a man who's chasing the gold medal. The youngster, Abbas Munir Al Abdul Baki. He's only 15 years old, but you wonder if he's going to follow in the footsteps of the likes of Mohammed Bukhari, who won several regional competitions in decathlon over the years. Al Abdul Baki just having a little discussion ahead of the start of the pole vault competition, which is the 8th event of the decathlon. Bear in mind, it's a 2-day competition comprising 10 events or 10 disciplines. You've got the 100 meters, the long jump, the shot put, the high jump, and the 400 meters on day 1. On day 2, it's the 110 meter hurdles, the discus, the pole vault, the javelin, and the 1,500 meters on the track. But what that does is it tests largely speed and strength on the first day, and then challenges the endurance and technical skills of the athletes on day 2 of competition. That's how the decathlon is designed, and it is a particularly grueling event that requires a great deal of mental strength as well. Now, the athletes preparing for the pole vault, this glorious venue that has hosted this event so brilliantly, Prince Naif Sports City, just on the outskirts of Dammam, the capital of Eastern Province, right on the coast of the Persian Gulf, and population of around 1.4 million people. So the kingdom's 3rd largest city by metropolitan area, behind Riyadh and Jeddah. But this wonderful event that the kingdom is hosting for the first time has featured some of the very best emerging talent in Asian athletics. And some of it has been utterly inspirational. Not necessarily those who find themselves on the podium. Not those who find themselves in competition. Mr. Karmakar of India among those, needed to borrow shoes to get to training, to find her way into competition, and found herself in the javelin final. Although she didn't medal, it's a tremendous story of overcoming odds. As we look out over this venue, I can tell you that we're going to focus our attention very much on the decathlon pole vault in the moments ahead. And I can tell you that Jahangir Yurabayev of Uzbekistan is leading the way. The 16-year-old, after his wins in the shot put and the discus most recently, leading the way on 5,087 points. But he's been closely followed by 2 competitors who are separated by just 36 points themselves, Askar Omirzak of Kazakhstan and Abbas Munir Al Abdul Baki of Saudi Arabia. 4,872 and 4,836 points respectively. And there is the bar that is being set ahead of the start of this competition. 8th event overall through 7 events. The athletes, Jack Sorab, are separated by 691 points now. So a little more of a gap, but it's still a very tight contest overall. I think signs, though, that Djuraboev is starting to show some dominance, particularly in the strength events.
And to have just those 36 points as well between bronze and silver medal position with Omirzak and Al Abdul Baki, it plays into a very intriguing final event of this morning and then into this evening as well. The decathlon sometimes is almost one of those events which, if you're not focused on it yourself, it's a peripheral event which you see a few events of as a viewer, but we've been able to dive right into it across this morning's session and focus on it entirely, and that's been a real privilege to see. And the pole vault, Dwayne, may well yet close things up again in some ways with the jumping expertise of Nikita Mironov, the winner of the high jump competition, the only event that he has won, the man from Kazakhstan, yesterday. Other than that, he's been 4th, 5th or 6th. Can he throw himself into contention, at least to challenge the likes of Ali Albathar and Jaden again from Singapore at the back? So you've got this almost two-tier competition, Dwayne, potentially developing, but at both levels it's really interesting to see who might finish 4th as much as who might finished in 1st, 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. It is so incredibly tight, and it's going to be just marginal mistakes that might cost the athletes who miss out, and just little moments of magic that might prove to be vital in the quest for gold, silver and bronze medals at these championships. Saudi 2025 has dished up a few surprises, and it's dished up a few very, very pleasant upsets as well, in the sense that athletes who have been unfancied have romped to victory. Suvchenkova, I think of in the girls' 3,000 meter, the 15-year-old who claimed victory so splendidly for Uzbekistan on day 3 of competition. And maybe, just maybe, 15-year-old Al Abdul Baki, the youngest in the field, could cause an upset in the decathlon on this second and final day of the 10-discipline event. The pole vault will have the bar set at 2.50 meters to start. The athletes have been going through their limbering up processes, just keeping themselves warm, and sometimes you like to get into it and stay in competition mode, keep warm, but you've got to try to do it keeping limber, keeping yourself ready for elite competition at every moment, but without exerting yourself. And that maybe is problematic at times. Around 28 degrees Celsius at the moment, so warm conditions for the athletes, but a gentle breeze that is sweeping across the venue as well, which will be very welcome relief. It's not going to affect the competition, the pole vault competition. This pole vault, like the discus, is an event that is only contested in the decathlon rather than in the heptathlon, which is the female equivalent, the women's equivalent of the multi-discipline event. But it used to be, Jack, that this was an event that was seen as events for athletes who were jack of all trades. This is just some warm-ups here, so no concerns for the athletes. It's not a failure at this height, it's just a little warm-up. This used to be seen as an event for athletes who are jack of all trades, but it's become an event for genuinely superb technical elite athletes, hasn't it?
You have to be a polymath when it comes to sporting disciplines in the decathlon, and you have to be good in every one, don't you? Because you only have to have one event where you finish bottom of the rostrum, or even fail to record the heights. And with the scoring points allocated to distances, to times, as well as to heights, it's not just where you finish, but the number that you get that is all important. And so it's only ever going to go that way. More and more specialisms required, and it's part of the evolution of decathlon and heptathlon as a sport, and it makes it more and more interesting, doesn't it, to have these athletes being so good in each discipline, because no one can be a world beater in all 10. It just won't happen. There are going to be elements where there are better disciplines than others, and the way it plays out after, say, 8 events going into those final 2, then things start to get so interesting. And we're at that point almost in this event here with the under-18 boys.
The man in your shot, Juraboev, leading the way currently. Finds himself on 5,087 points. He's a young athlete who's got high hopes. And I tell you, if he continues on his merry way, the way he has, a decent pole vault, a good javelin, and a decent 1,500 meter, he could very well be staring at a championship record as we look to get the pole vault underway.
Interesting, Dwayne, also when you compare the speciality of the pole vault, in the individual competition 2 nights ago, the bar was set at 350, the entry height. This is, of course, 250, just highlighting even the difference between a decathlete doing the pole vault and an individual event specialist taking on the pole vault. There's so many levels to this discipline, and that can make it so hard to pick up, so hard to excel at for decathletes. Juraboev, no problem with that first 250 height.
Yeah, you see certain events where athletes dominate. Kuzubova, for example, the champion in the girls' heptathlon, was also competing in the girls' high jump. Certainly long jump is very much an event. Oh, and this is a disappointment for Mironov as he takes the bar down. So he's got a first-time failure, 2 meters 50. You have 3 attempts to clear any given height, 3 successive failures, and that means you're out of the competition. And what you don't want is a no measurement here. That would certainly hurt your potential medal challenge.
And this is the man who won the boys' high jump, of course, again highlighting just how different the pole vault is, for obvious reasons, the element of the pole, but it's not as if it translates equally high jumping to pole vaulting as Nikita Mironov, unfortunately for him, is underlining for us.
Yeah, it's just a little problem with the swing and row, struggling with his extension in flight. All elements that help you clear the bar. So yes, this is a particularly nuanced discipline in the world of track and field. You're not going to see any Mondo Duplantis type action here. Mondo Duplantis, the world record holder from Sweden in the pole vault. Nikita Mironov, currently 5th overall, man from Kazakhstan, competing alongside compatriot Askar Omirzak, who's currently 2nd overall and battling for that silver medal so brilliantly with Abbas Munir Al Abdulbaki. So normally you get 1 minute between attempts, but if you're the only athlete still going, you get an extra minute. So he's got 2 minutes between that last failure and attempting to clear for the 2nd time of asking. You need to build up speed in the runway, and he's maybe not just giving himself enough of a chance to do that. So 2 failures at the height, 2 meters 60, the entry height for Mironov. It's not building up quite as much speed as he'd like. He's having a little problems with that rock back and extension, and couldn't quite get the flyaway on that occasion. So after that, he's got 2 minutes now in which he will try to go clear If not, if he does not clear 2 meters 60 at the third time of asking, it will go down as a no measurement and he will receive 0 points for this event.
Oh, yes. Well done, that man.
Third time of asking. Talk about leaving it late. Third time lucky goes Mironov, and he's clear at 2 meters 60. That will be an enormous sense of relief for the young man, the 16-year-old. At least he's posted a height. Trying to jab that end of that pole into a recessed box. And then launch yourself up, given the momentum. And go through the motions from the takeoff right the way through what is genuine tests of core strength in the pole vault. You need to use your core to really lift up your legs and torso so that you end up almost upside down before you clear the bar.
And evidently, Dwayne, Nikita Mironov, this young man from Kazakhstan, is at the start of his journey in pole vaulting as well and learning it. But you can't underestimate the bravery that you have to take on with the pole vault when it's not your favoured or most comfortable discipline as well, because you hurtle down this runway and the number of things that can go wrong in a pole vault is higher than in most other athletics disciplines.
It's Juraboev. And comfortably over. So Juraboev goes a little higher now. He'll be pleased. The current leader on 5,087 points. Builds up good speed down the runway despite a relatively short run up to the approach and to the plant. So first time clearance at 2 meters 70. It's an entry height for Askar Omirzak of Kazakhstan as well. This is Nikita Mironov, though. And he goes clear first time at 2 meters 70. There's confirmation. Almost used as a high jump scissors type attempt at a clearance, rather than the push back, the extension, and then the flyaway after. Some of these competitors will be looking to come in around the 3 meter mark. Somebody like Jaden Nung, a very competent pole vaulter. They'll be looking to improve on what was a very disappointing discus competition for the young man from Singapore.
Yeah, indeed it was. He only got one discus measurement recorded. Really struggled in the circle, finishing last in the end in that 124.66 in meters after having blitzed the 110 meter hurdles this morning. Great performance there. He's, along with Juraboev, one of the two athletes that have won 2 events in the decathlon. Jaden and Juraboev.
Yeah, Jaden Nung winning the 100 meters and 110 hurdles. There he was sorting out the plaster and taping on his foot as Juraboev goes clear. So raising the bar and no concerns in height in the early stages of this pole vault for Juraboev. technique is something you'll get a chance to perfect in later years. He's got the basics right, but the technique is not quite there yet. The way the legs flay apart is less than optimal. Nikita Mironov. Currently 5th overall. He was set to go, but Jaden Ng is going to use this as his entry height. There's quite a bit of plaster and taping all around that right ankle of Jaden Ng. He showed no signs of discomfort in the track event so far. Jaden Ng from Singapore. Longer run-up than some of the other competitors, and that's going to be a foul. No measurement for Ng first time around. He can comfortably go clear at 3.30 meters, but it's about producing it in competition on the day.
It almost felt like just a training run for Jaden Ng to get used to the runway, didn't it? The way he went from the runway here and almost pulling out really of the vaults. There we have the strapping, Dwayne.
Yeah, some very heavy strapping on that right ankle. Mironov will be next to go. One wonders when Al-Batir, Omirzak and Al Abdulbaki will be entering. Mironov takes the bar down. And what an event this has been over the years. Great Saudi Arabian Mohammed Al-Qari, who dominated regional events. You think back to Decathlon, though, worldwide, Daley Thompson is a name that certainly jumps out. And the incredibly talented Roman Chevrolet, for a long-time world record holder, the first man to go beyond 9,000 points in the Decathlon. I think that was actually at the Goethes in Austria, if I'm not mistaken, back in 2001. He was a much younger man back then. Watching Roman Chevrolet compete in the Decathlon, superb. Maybe he's an inspiration for some of these young athletes like Jaden Ng. Second time of asking, and that's very comfortable, good vertical height from Jaden Ng. So he's clear at the second time of asking.
And Dwayne, Roman Chevrolet, Daley Thompson, as a point of discussion, in all your time covering athletics, have you deciphered that there's a personality difference at all about the decathlete? Not just their general skill set, but in terms of their disposition around the sport, as we see Mironov taking on 280 for the second time. Is that something you've detected?
There's an additional element of mental strength, and I think attention and focus that you see in a decathlete that is very difficult to witness absolutely with other athletes. As Mironov goes for his second attempt and takes the bar down again, it's the second height at which Mironov is going to have a third and final attempt to clear a height. Otherwise, he will be out of the pole vault competition. He doesn't want to only register 2.70 meters in the pole vault, attempting 2.80 meters for the second time and taking the bar down. But yeah, I think that the sense of attention and presence in the moment from decathletes is, well, it's absolutely necessary for the competition and the way you need to try to overcome mentally the physical challenges of the event. But you look at all of the greats, Kevin Myers, a little more recently. Chevrolet was a great example of that. Daley Thompson, just the mental focus was utterly phenomenal. And be present in the moment. You always got a sense, though, with people like Daley Thompson, like Roman Chevrolet in particular, who's one of my heroes, somebody who was always trying to be better today than he was yesterday. And you love that in any elite athlete. And maybe that's a lesson for some of these young men. There's Omirzak, yet to enter. Third time lucky again. Mironov. There's a little heart in mouth moment here. He manages to go clear at 2 meters 80. Bit of speed. Jams the pole, gets the vertical height in. And a little fist pump as well. Off to go clear.
And Dwayne, generally the silhouette of his body as he goes over the vault is it's so much better than when we were seeing him struggling at 260. He's improving.
Does seem to be.
As he gets higher and higher.
That last attempt certainly a lot better than the 2 previous attempts where he tried to rock back and found himself sliding the bar off its perch. Duraboev will be next to go at the new height. Omirzak is lurking in a sense that, or gives us a sense that he might be entering very, very soon. Yet to see the indication that Albater and Al-Abdulbaki are going to enter. Duraboev. Happy to go next. Looking to help Uzbekistan to a 3rd gold medal at these games. Yes, again, another first-time clearance. So a clean series for the leader overall. Still getting good vertical height. Duraboev. Jaden, personal best of 3:32. As I mentioned, has recently set his personal best, competing in New Zealand. Found his way to 5,716 points. He's on course to better that at these championships. Yeah, another successful clearance for Ng of Singapore.
And that's the cleanest technique we've seen so far, Dwayne. Undoubtedly, for all of Duraboev's abilities and his series not to have taken down the pole once yet. That's impressive, but Jaden on just showing the rest of the field that his technique is such that he's going to be featuring at much higher heights. Now, Nikita Mironov, who has already faced down 2 third and final attempts at lower heights, goes again.
This is the height where you feel he might start to struggle a little more. Doesn't quite get up to the height of the bar.
That's right, but every first attempt at a new height has been exactly like this, Dwayne, hasn't it? It's seen us think, well, he's got a long way to go to get to over this. And it's the same at 290. But he's done it on each of the previous occasions.
So Omirzak, Albater, Alavdubaki yet to enter. Yuraboev and Ng clear at 2 meters 90. Mironov with his second attempt at the height. Height in the open. This is the Decathlon podium. 6 competitors seeking 3 medals. Nikita Mironov, who won the high jump. The 3-7 events, 5 of the 6 athletes have actually won disciplines in this decathlon. The only one who hasn't won a discipline is been arguably the most impressive. The incredible consistency of Ala Dulbaki, who's challenging for that silver medal.
Apologies, Dwayne. Yeah, it's quite a paradox, that, isn't it? He's had a third, a second, a third, a sixth. He's finished last in the high jump, second, fourth, and a second. As Mironov, oh, that was almost pulling a similarly sized rabbit out of the hat and going over 290, but he doesn't quite make it. Nikita Mironov.
So Mironov will register a height of 2 meters 80 in the pole vault. Important that he registered a height, but is out after that third successive failure at 2 meters 90. 5 still in the contest, including the leader, Yuraboev of Uzbekistan. Yuraboev with pole in hand will be next to go. It looks like Omirzak is going to enter at this height. Once we hit the 3 meter mark. Yuraboev. Well, not the most comfortable looking of his attempts, but a successful attempt nonetheless for the overall leader. A little bit of a knowing nod as well. Maybe a glance over towards his coach. It's been great to see the support for these young athletes. Team Uzbekistan have been among the more successful nations at this Asian Under-18 Athletics Championships, and many of the athletes, those who've won medals and those who haven't, have all been cheering on and encouraging and supporting those who have. Here's Omirzak as he enters. Oh, and that's massive vertical height. Very comfortably clear.
And so much of a shorter run-up as well, Dwayne. from Askar Omizak. Really starting closer to the bar than the rest of his rivals. But that was comfortable. Look at the excess height there. Jaden Nung, for example, is about 5 meters further back, allowing him to capitalize on his real asset, his speed. Let's enjoy this.
Well, he got well over the bar. And disappointingly, his pole followed him over. And in doing so, took the bar down. A bar 4.5 meters across. Gets over very comfortably. Maybe a little flick of the hand as well, but the bar is certainly coming with Jaden Nung. Yeah, it's the bar that's come over with him and taken the pole that's come over with him and taken the bar down. Very competent pole vaulter. He should have no concerns. Just look at the background. Al Abdulbaki and Al Bater side by side, and that's one of the great things about being able to compete with a compatriot is you've got that support that you need when times are tough. An athlete like Jaden Nung does not have that in the sense that he's competing alone for Singapore here. Second attempt, and that's a lot better.
Great confidence from Jaden Ong. Hardly took anywhere close to the minute allowed between attempts. He was very quick to set the record straight there. No problems for the Singaporean.
Sometimes you just want to get straight back into it. Not for Jaden Ong. Straight back into it, straight back over it. Just a little chat with the officials. Nothing untoward. So 5 competitors remain in the pole vault. We've yet to see Al Bater or Al Abdulbaki enter. With Juraboev and Umirzak clear at 3 meters. 2 meters 80 a height registered by Mironov. When is he going to make his way into this pole vault competition? 2 very good pole vaulters, Al Bater and Al Abdulbaki. So, Juraboev. Preparing to go. First time failure for him. He's had a clean series thus far. Man from Uzbekistan. But this is a first failure. We're starting to get to those heights where we might see it now, beyond the 3 meter mark. But nowhere near the vertical height that he's got in previous attempts. Al Bater and Al Abdulbaki, both yet to enter. That's the younger of the competitors, the 15-year-old. Next to go, Askar Omirzak. Currently second, but not by much. Ooh, big height again. Good clearance. Got great speed on the track, does Omirzak. He's able to use that down the runway on his approach. Helps propel him upwards after jamming the pole into that recessed box.
Dwayne, at the top of the program this morning, you highlighted how day 2 in the decathlon stresses the endurance and the technical skills of decathletes versus the speed and strength on day 1. Well, Omirzak is almost the ideal frame, the build for that endurance side of things, because he's got speed, he's got top end speed, as we've seen in the running tracks, but also power, as we've seen in the field events, and pole vault may well suit him nicely. Certainly looked impressive there. And Djuraboev has not got over 3:10 again. Well, this is interesting.
Yeah, second time failure for Djuraboev at this height. Now he knows that 2 competitors behind him in Al Abdulbaki and Omirzak are very good pole vaulters in their own right. Doesn't want to be losing out on his lead. So needs to keep going in the pole vault as long as he possibly can. Djuraboev won the shot put, won the discus. Doesn't want to finish 5th in the pole vault. To an extent, Omirzak and Jaden Ung very much in this competition. Djuraboev 2 failures at 3:10. Al-Batir and Al Abdulbaki yet to enter. There's the Singaporean coach of Jaden Ung. Kazakhstan support. There's 2 competitors from Kazakhstan in Omirzak and Mironov. The man from Uzbekistan. Still got a little time available to him. Doesn't need to pick up the pole and go immediately, and he's looking to use all that time available to him. This is where the mental fortitude side of things comes into play for these athletes. Champions find a way. Seems to be a little unhappy with something, but he's going to go for his 3rd and final attempt here at 3:10. Needs to make this, otherwise he'll only register a height of 3 meters in the pole vault. Djuraboev takes the bar down, and at the end of his pole vault competition. So 3 meters, the height that he registers, the overall leader. And if he isn't overtaken after this event, he's certainly going to lose a lot of ground on his lead.
So much of his body was over. Just his elbow and shoulder, which brought the bar down. And Djurabov out opens things up, doesn't it? For particularly Askar Omirzak and Abbas Aladulbaki. So too Jaden Ong coming in to this event in 4th position.
Yeah, I think to be competitive with Salah Abdulbaki and Umirzak, Jaden Ong is going to need a big improvement on his personal best in the pole vault. But he's still in it. He's gone clear at 3 meters 10, as has Umirzak.
استاذ بدر رد استاذ بدر
So Umirzak set to go. Very comfortably clear at 3 meters 20. Good clean series for Umirzak, the first to go clear at 3 meter 20.
البار كم يبغى؟
Lovely rock back and extension. Good fly away. Jaden. First attempt at 3 meters 20 for the Singaporean. Oh, got over the bar and then the pole clocked it before taking it down. So a first time failure at 3 meters 20 for Jaden. Well clear of the bar. There was a little brush on it. And then his pole, unfortunately for the young man, hits the bar and knocks it off its perch. So, first time failure at 3 meters 20. So 2 competitors are out. Nikita Mironov having registered 2 meters 80. Jahongir Djuraboev registering 3 meters. Jaden straight back into it again. Yeah, very comfortable this time. Looked like he was trying to prove a point, so he's clear at 3 meters 20.
He made sure there, Dwayne, that that pole didn't go anywhere near the bar, throwing it back with all his might in flight.
Yeah, this is concerning though. This is very concerning. He's got a heavily strapped right ankle and looks to be very awkward. Looks to be very uncomfortable. Throws it back. And as he lands, he doesn't quite land on the ankle. So I don't know what might have happened, but certainly emerged from the mattress with quite a bit of discomfort in that right ankle. Or maybe as he stood up.
Or maybe, Dwayne, under the stress of his approach, something just went off just before takeoff for him. Yeah, it doesn't look good at all, does it?
You don't want to have come this far and then not be able to finish. Only the javelin and the 1,500 meter events to come after this. Now, it looks like Al Abdul Baki and maybe Al Bater will enter. So this is Ali Hassan Al Bater, top of the runway. Yeah, very comfortably clear. First time clearance at 3 meters 30 after passing all the way through from 2 meters 50. It's not only about getting up to an apex point. It's not only about the vertical height. It's about marrying the horizontal with the vertical. And so many other little technical elements and dynamics that you need to master in the discipline of pole vault. But he's got plenty of room to work with. There's Umirzak, 3 meters 30, first attempt. No concerns for the Kazakh. Generates tremendous speed down a very short approach. He uses that to propel himself over the bar. Abdul Baki. Now, has Jaden passed, or is he simply not competing any longer, given his ankle concern?
Yeah, that's the question, and not in picture. Jaden Ong, at the moment, after having spoken to his coach, having landed or having done something to his right ankle in his last attempts. And Al Abdul Baki now being told to wait. He had a pole in his hand moments ago, ready for his first attempt. So we could, Dwayne, be down to 3 competitors.
So Jaden Ong has collected the pole vault now. And that looked very awkward for the young man. Pole vault is difficult to do when everything is right. To try to do it when you're struggling with an ankle concern, that's going to be an ultimate test of his abilities.
But Dwayne, it didn't look like that was a man who was shaking his head saying, I'm not going to try again, to me. He has 2 attempts remaining, of course, Jaden Ong. And he, although hobbling away on that ankle, didn't seem to be saying no to trying again. But we'll see. Next up, Abbas Al Abdul Baki. First attempt at 3:30, first attempt in the competition. The man lying in second, coming in to the pole vault. Let's see what form he's in today.
Very good pole vaulter, and he proves it with his first attempt as well. So like Al-Batar and Omirzak clear at 3 meters 30. This is the 8th event, we remind you, of the decathlon. 10 events contested over 2 days of competition. This is the 3rd event of the morning session on the final day of the Asian Under-18 Athletics Championships of 2025. And in this pole vault so far, it looks to be very positive for Team Saudi Arabia. 2 big vertical clearances for Al Abdul Baki and Al-Batar. Omirzak still very much in the mix. And Jade Nung with question marks.
Of course, not just in this event now, but for what's to come afterwards with the javelin and the 1500 meters. But hopefully it's something which, if not completely resolvable right now, is something he can live with and compete with for the rest of today. 2nd attempt coming up at this height.
2nd attempt at 3 meters 30. The height he's been relatively comfortable with clearing previously, but not much beyond that. Well, Jade Nung has managed to clear 3 meters 30 despite the discomfort that he's in.
That's gutsy, isn't it, Dwayne? Virtually on one leg when we see him hobbling away after this, but not when he's on the runway.
Yep. Massive resilience, mental resilience. Gets himself into a good position. A much better flyaway.
When we talked about personality traits of decathletes, you highlighted resilience almost at the top of that, and Jade Nung displaying those merits in the pole vault, still in the competition.
Oscar Omirzak. Stands at the top of the runway, so it looks like Al-Batar is passing. Oh, little celebration from Omirzak after going over there. 3 meters 40, he's clear out at the first time of asking. Good clean series for a man from Kazakhstan. Jaden, this would be a personal best if he goes clear at 3 meters 40. And he's already struggling with an ankle problem. Can he make magic happen here? Takes the bar down on the way up. Hung of Singapore. Nikita Mironov out at 2 meters 80. The overall leader in the decathlon after 7 events. Jahongir Zuraboev of Uzbekistan, one of only 2 double landlocked countries in the world. He set a mark at 3 meters before he failed at 3:10 on 3 successive occasions to be out.
40. Sir, 40.
Jaden Ng looking to stay in the pole vault competition that, as it stands, is got Al Abdul Baki, Al Badr and Umirzak looking very comfortable in. So Al Badr has passed at 3 meters 40, so to Al Abdul Baki, which means Jaden Ng will have 2 more attempts to go in succession. Last few heights, failure clearance, failure clearance. Is it going to be failure clearance at 3 meters 40 for Jaden Ng?
Just wonder, Dwayne, if we can get a shot of what this wind is doing from the wind cone next to the runway. Starting to flutter. Should be a bit of a crosswind for Jaden Ng. Here we go. And he's done it again. Goes clear after a failure on that ankle.
A new personal best for Jaden Ng at a time where things look to be going in the wrong direction for the young man. The ankle concern, and he produces that. Second time of asking, but my word, he's been consistent with failure clearance, failure clearance, failure clearance in his series. Working through the pain, finds the speed, finds the technique, finds a way, and over he goes.
You know, it's not the technique that we're seeing from the likes of Asghar, Omirzak and Al-Batal and Al Abdul Baki, isn't, but he is quite rightly, as you point out, Dwayne, finding that way through, and there are more variables than any other competitor has to deal with right now that Jaden Ng is contesting with. So let's see now, once again, how the form of Ali Hassan Al-Batha is. He's coming back in after having skipped the last height of 340. Both Al-Batha and Al Abdul Baki opting out of the last height after comfortably clearing the height before that, their entry height. So now it's 350. Let us see.
How about it? Down the runway. Yeah, very good. Very good. Genuinely no concerns for the Saudi Arabian competitors so far. Technique looks really good. The effort looks really comfortable. The result might very well be a change in the order of things come the end of this pole vault competition, with just 2 events remaining. Only the javelin and the 1500 meters to come after this in the decathlon. 4 competitors remain in the pole vault competition. coming up towards midday local time. Askar Umirzak. Oh, the first time that he's touched the bar, but it stays on. So no concerns for Umirzak, gets the clearance.
Well, it's interesting to note, therefore, that this is the hottest at any point that any athletes will have competed in across this competition. We've had morning and evening sessions, but this is now approaching on midday sun in Saudi Arabia, as Umirzak still maintaining form despite the brushing of the bar. It's around about 27 degrees out there for these athletes. As on goes again. And that is quite considerably below the heights for his first attempt. And as we have seen, he's then made the changes and quickly got back on the horse and cleared the next height. And he'd do it again for what would be another personal best. But this is where the breeze helps as well, Dwayne. They won't be feeling it at 27 degrees right now. Nonetheless, it is hotting up.
It's hotting up. Here's Al Abdul Baki, somebody who has certainly raised the temperature of this competition with his brilliance so far. Outside of the high jump, really, he's been there and thereabouts in all the disciplines so far. Great consistency, and a very good pole vaulter with a superb chance of actually going on to post the best height at the pole vault, and again very comfortably clear.
Increments of 10 on the raising of the bar might see us see quite a lot of clearances here first time from the likes of Al Batha and Al Abdubaki. He is showing a lot of daylight right now between himself and the bar.
This is exactly what you want. You want to jam the bar down the center of the box. You want to cross the bar at the center and land in the center of the mat. And look at that. You use the runway as the central position. That's just excellent from Al Abdul Baki.
Some diving judges out there who might be awarding some favorable marks for that one as well from Al Abdul Baki.
Excellence from the 15-year-old. Now to the 16-year-old of Singapore. Has struggled through this injury concern. That right ankle troubling him. But he still managed to set a personal best so far. Second attempt at 3 meters 50 for Eung of Singapore. Pulls out again. So second failure at this height, and the first height at which he's seen 2 successive failures. Wants to stay in the competition. Nikita Mironov out at 280, out at 3 meters was Juraboev, the leader, on 5,087 points through 7 events. Given the way Al Abdul Baki and Umirzak are going, if they don't take over the lead, they're certainly going to cut the advantage of Juraboev. Pole vault is not quite turning the competition on its head just yet, but it may well do still to come, plenty of opportunities for the likes of Al Abdulbaki and Omirzak.
You look at Duraboev's endurance over on the track, Dwayne, a third in the 400 metres for Duraboev, so over 1,500 metres in the final event later tonight, after the javelin, of course, but it'll be interesting to see what that finish ends up being like. It could well be a grandstand finish with everyone competing for things. Now, Ung is competing to stay in the competition here.
Third and final attempt at 3.50 meters for the young Singaporean, and he goes out. So he's registered a height of 3.40 meters. It's still a personal best for the young man, but he becomes the third competitor out. I just hope between now and the evening session he's got the opportunity to have somebody look at that ankle and maybe just see if they can strap it up or help him in some way get to a point where he's not quite so uncomfortable for the javelin and for the 1,500 meter, the final two events of the decathlon. Three competitors still remain in the pole vault though. Two from Saudi Arabia and Kazakhstan's Askar Omirzak. Al Abdulbaki and Alberto looking very comfortable though for Saudi Arabia, but looking very uncomfortable, the Singaporean, who deserves applause for his tremendous effort and resilience in fighting through the pain, fighting through the discomfort, to post a personal best in the pole vault and edge closer to what he might hope to be a medal for Singapore. Country that's already claimed 3 medals at these championships, a gold, a silver and a bronze.
Poles go away for Jaden Ung in to its container. Always got to bear in mind that these pole vaults, the poles indeed, are something which a pole vault athlete has to carry around with them, and not always easy to carry these around. I remember once, Dwayne, speaking to Holly Bleedsdale at the time, Holly Bradshaw now, of course,
yes,
Olympic bronze medalist, who's had a fair few issues transporting poles before. Back in ahead of London 2012, in a trial competition, they fell off the roof of her car en route to the competition, and these things set her back. But it's not something that comes to mind, the logistics around this particular event, but they can cause athletes to sweat unnecessarily so.
You're right, you're right. This is not just hand luggage that you can whip onto the plane with you. This needs to be tucked away in stowage, and indeed there's a few athletes who've had their poles disappear on flights as well. Some have competed with borrowed poles. Askar Omirzak to go clear at 3.60 meters, and this is his first failure. So this is looking good for the two athletes from Saudi Arabia. Al-Batar having passed at this height, 3.60 meters. Omirzak just taking a moment, and we'll head down to speak to his coach. He'll have 3 minutes now. It seems as if Al Abdulbaki has passed as well at 3.60 meters. So Omirzak charges back to the runway and prepares to go again. Second time at 3.60 meters, and it's good. No! Oh, the heartbreak. Clears the bar, and then his pole knocks it down. Heartbreaking moment for The 16-year-old from Kazakhstan, Askar Omirzak, gets over with a little brush of it. Thought he'd done enough to send the pole back in the opposite direction. Oh, there's the heartbreak. So third and final attempt upcoming. And this to stay in the competition. Here goes. Omirzak. Much better, much better. Big celebration from Omirzak. 3.60 meters he's clear at now. And what he's doing is maintaining that pressure on Al Abdulbaki. Al-Batar is a little further back in the standings, so for him it's about moving his way up the board, as it were. For Omirzak, it's about holding on to second position, consolidating second position, so this is tremendously important. But every inch that he can get, every centimeter that he can take in the pole vault, puts a little more pressure on Abbas Munir Al Abdulbaki. He certainly doesn't look to be under any pressure. Am I allowed to say how impressed I've been by Al Abdulbaki? It's been at least half an hour since I've said that.
We've been very restrained, actually. But then again, he hasn't been competing in that time, Dwayne, because he's been waiting for the higher heights, pretty much, along with his teammate Al-Batar. I think we can go into it again now.
It's just remarkable consistency. I can't get over just how incredibly consistent he's been. And the fact that he is challenging for the silver medal, but he's yet to win an event through 7. Might very well be on course to claim the pole vault discipline. There's Al-Batar at the top of the runway. There's Jaden Ng limping away. His pole vault done, registering 3.40 meters. Off to get some medical treatment, I suspect. And a well-deserved rest as well. 2 events to come for him, potentially, the javelin and the 1500 meters. Resetting the bar are the officials. Home turf, high hopes. Saudi Arabia very confidently stepping into the athletics arena. This is a landmark moment for the kingdom's growing sports vision, hosting these Asian Under-18 Athletics Championships. Saudi 2025 has been a great success so far. There's much identification on youth development as a core pillar of its sporting strategy. Al-Batar, no concerns. And a comfortable first-time clearance. Good technique, very slight drift. 3 competitors remain. Al-Batar is just gone. Omirzak will be next to go, and then Al Abdulbaki. Omirzak. This is a big attempt now, and takes the bar down. He's gone clear at 3.60 meters, has Omirzak. This is starting to get into his testing range. Not to say he can't go clear, but this is where things become a little more challenging.
Indeed, it is. But worth us bearing in mind that these are heights which would see you eligible to compete and to contend in the under-18 pole vault final, the individual event of it. Certainly the height right now which Al Abdul Baki is facing would see him be able to represent Saudi Arabia in that final. These are higher heights than what his teammates were clearing in the individual competition.
Abbas Munir Al Abdul Baki of Saudi Arabia next to go. Clean series so far, has passed at numerous heights. Yeah, excellent technique again, and again, Jack, so central on the mat. He's got really solid technique. I think coaches have to spot and identify at least one thing for every jump.
Yeah.
But there's so much to like about his technique. There's so much right with it.
There is, and on paper here, just trying to work out who looks the better right now between Al Bata and Al Abdul Baki, because inevitably this feels like a shootout between the two for this event, and no disrespect at all to Asghar Omirzak, who is fighting and holding his own here, but these two Saudi Arabian vaulters in great shape. Now, can Omirzak keep himself in the conversation?
Asghar Omirzak, that short run up, gets himself up to the height, but takes the bar down on the way up. So he'll have one final attempt at this height. Omirzak is not going to use all the time allocated to him before he starts his third and final attempt at this height. Patriot Minonov out at 280, out at 3 is Juraboev, and 340 for Ung. It's going to be out at 360 for this man, Asghar Omirzak. Just the two competitors from Saudi Arabia remain, and it is a perfect opportunity for Al Abdul Baki to get himself into silver medal position and consolidate that position ahead of the final two events, javelin and the 1500 meter, where javelin is not his strongest event. It's amazing how sometimes an athlete can look so comfortable at clearing a height. You raise the bar by 10 centimeters and they can look so absolutely awkward in trying to clear, and at times bordering on clumsy. But there's the respect shown by the coach. It's genuinely a good mark for Omirzak, 3 meters 60 to have cleared. He's done very well to clear 3 meters 60. He'll finish third in the pole vault discipline of this decathlon. But if you look at athletics, overall. For women, heptathlon. For men, decathlon. These are the athletes that can walk around with all the dignity in the world, given what they managed to accomplish over 2 days of competition. Pole vault continues. There's only 2 competitors left in it. There goes Al-Bater. And his first failure. Now that's advantage Al-Abdul Baki.
You sense that Al-Bater was furious with himself as he came down, already remonstrating with himself, let alone before his coach offered his advice. He's going to brood over that one.
Quarter past 12 local time, just around midday heat time. These competitors competing in the sun in Dammam, and Saudi 2025 continues. The 6th Asian Under-18 Athletics Championships. This is the pole vault event in Decathlon. The 8th discipline of 10. Al-Abdul Baki to go clear. Oh, and he too has a first failure of this competition. Now, this is not competing for placings so much in the individual disciplines. This is competing for points. A reminder that in decathlon, all the times, all the distances, all the heights achieved by the athletes are converted to points. Those points are added together, and that cumulative tally determines the final classification for Al-Bater and Al-Abdul Baki. Significant this for Al-Bater to edge his way up the leaderboard. 6th currently for Abdul Baki, looking to solidify silver medal position going into the final 2 events. Oh, that looked much better, and fuming again, remonstrating with himself, berates himself as he hits the mat.
But he just hasn't travelled quite far enough. Plenty of height, but just not the distance, because when he comes back down, this gets taken off. But you're right, much, much better, and there is plenty of room to spare as he goes over. But he's going to just travel a little bit further, and that won't be a problem.
Ultimately, though, it's a second-time failure.
Well, this would be a big blow to Saudi Arabian hopes if this is the height which Al-Abdul Baki and Al-Bater are stuck at, because if they can work together, encourage each other, match each other to higher heights, then they can maximize this advantage. They've done the hard work in many ways. Can they push this advantage home, maximize their point scoring over the rest of the field? It's not a competition. Excuse me, Dwayne.
No. You're right. This is about the camaraderie as much as anything else. It's a competition without necessarily being a competition. Abbas Munir Al-Abdul Baki now for Saudi Arabia. 2nd attempt. And he had plenty of room to work with. But again, vertical height and horizontal not marrying quite the way the athletes would like. As a result, successive failures for both these young men. Just a little drift on this occasion. So third and final attempt upcoming for Ali Hassan Al-Batir. We know he's got the height. Can he clear it? The third time of asking. No. No, he hasn't actually crossed the plane, so he can go back to the top of his run, he can reset, and he can go again. He hasn't crossed the plane, and he's right. He's got the red flag here. If you don't cross under the plane of the bar, you can actually go back to the top of your run and reset. Yeah, it's the way he planted the bar, so he's actually gone over, so he's not right on this occasion. If he had gone into the box, it would have been a different story, but he's actually planted that into the mattress, which is beyond the plane of the bar. So the officials are correct. I just assumed, I suppose, that he had planted the pole in that recessed box. But he's gone beyond that and into the mattress itself. So that's his series done. Only one competitor remains, and that is Abbas Munir Al Abdul Baki. Let's watch this again. If he plants it in the box, it's fine. And he's gone and planted it into the mattress. Breaks the plane of the bar. And that means his competition is over.
It's just so disappointing for Ali Hassan Al-Batir. He's looked in imperious form to this height and has twice gone much higher than the bar, only to take it off on his way down. Opportunity, however, presented to his teammate Abbas Al Abdul Baki to win the competition outright if he clears this height.
Abbas Munir Al Abdul Baki, last remaining competitor. How high can he go? Needs this to stay in the competition and makes it. Stays in the pole vault of the decathlon. And he'll have 3 attempts to clear any height he now wants. He can ask the officials to set the bar at any height he wants. So that is confirmation that he's just won his very first discipline in the decathlon. His remarkable consistency throughout has seen him in very good stead. Just tremendous, tremendous from Al Abdul Baki. Look at the celebration on the way down. More energy being expended by his coach, I suspect.
He's so well-rounded as a decathlete at just 15 years of age. We've been enjoying his performance before now, and yet this is his first outright victory. Now, Dwayne, what does received wisdom dictate in the decathlon about trying to maximise points here after the victory has been secured? Would you expect him to go for beyond the next height, the next obvious height, to try and really maximise the points, or is it much more sensible to just take the lowest hanging fruit possible and just go one step up here?
Well, usually it's the athlete feeling what they are capable of doing. If you're confident, if you're high on confidence, you might go for a higher height because you know you're capable of doing that, or you believe you're capable of doing that. For the other athletes, it's about keeping it simple, sticking to the basics, going through the motions, there might very well have been discussions with the coaches, should they be in this position coming into it. There might very well be discussions ongoing. He's got a full 3 minutes now before he needs to worry about his next jump. He doesn't need to worry about the next vault for a little while. He can take his time, reflect, just think it through. But he'll have had to notify the officials already. What a competitor. I remind you, he's the youngest competitor in the field. He's only 15 years old. Only 15 years old. Third and final attempt. And excellence. Steps up now. Just how high can he go in this pole vault? Without getting behind him. Oh, takes it down on the way up. This time completely miscalculated. And his extension effectively saw him go through the bar. Pole vault takes tremendous core strength. Even the medical staff are heavily invested in the outcome of this. You might notice some of the athletes will have deliberately changed their clothing as well for the pole vault. And there's a reason for that, in the sense that you can run in whatever clothing you feel like when you're out on track or doing certain field events. But when you're doing the pole vault, loose clothing can clip the bar and knock it over. So you'll see in the pole vault competition, athletes wear a lot tighter fitting clothing. Abdul Baki coming up towards 12:30 in the afternoon in Dammam. Temperature at around 28 degrees. The wind speed is a gentle breeze. It'll be a welcome breeze for the athletes. But exerting himself in the midday sun. How high can he go? He's got the height. It's now just about converting that height to further points for this young man. Abbas Munir Al Abdul Baki, second attempt. Pulls out of it. So one final attempt. He had one final attempt at his previous height and managed to clear it successfully. How much confidence does he have? And also at this stage of the competition, Jack, how much energy does he have left? I mean, bear in mind, we've been through the 100 meters, the long jump, the shot put, the high jump, the 400 meters, the 110-meter hurdles, and the discus already. I mean, those are exhausting in themselves. Never mind back to back.
This is no exhibition, is it? At the end of an individual competition, setting the bar high to try and set your own personal best, or even at the very top end of the sport, a world record. This is no exhibition at all. There are two more events to come today in the decathlon, and yet this is important for him to press home his advantage by clearing a higher height, maximizing his points, maximizing the gain on his rivals. Djuraboev, the only rival he has ahead of him. Al Abdulbaki in the silver medal position coming in to the pole vault. Djuraboev in the gold medal position, but Djuraboev will be down in 5th position in this particular individual event. He'll still be running the numbers on things, but he should still be looking good in the overall standings. But that deficit will be significantly reduced by Al Abdulbaki, and if he clears this, things will be looking even better for him coming into the final 2 events in the evening session tonight. He's not just doing this for fun. This is all important in the competition.
Using virtually all of the time available to him ahead of this 3rd and final attempt. 15-year-old, already the best of the lot in this pole vault competition. He knows the next event is javelin, which is not his strongest event. Looking to eke out every available point in what is arguably his strongest event, the pole vault. Abdulbaki, 3rd and final attempt. And he's not going to make it happen here. He's still won the pole vault competition. It was an excellent display from the young man. He and his compatriot Al-Bakr, the top 2 for Saudi Arabia, and they can afford a smile or two. But he's still fuming with himself, frustrated, knowing you can do better, and not achieving that is an enormous frustration for a young athlete, for any athlete. But you'll learn how to deal with that in the years ahead as well, and that is learning about elite sport as anything else. Sliding those carbon fiber poles back into their containers. Used to be flexible fiberglass before carbon fiber. Ooh, looks like he spiked himself unwittingly.
He came down a little plunkily out of the air, hole between his legs. Or maybe the spike's just clipping the skin. But they both, Dwayne, at the end there was a sense of being able to do better, wasn't there, for Al-Barta particularly, but also Al Abdulbaki. Never mind, it's a 4-hour break now until their next event, and here's how things officially ended in the pole vault.
Yeah, it's a good victory for Al Abdulbaki, 3 meters 80 that he's managed to clear. That'll earn him some valuable points. Al-Barta 370, Mirzak at 360. But the overall leader only cleared 3 meters, so that's going to hurt his ambitions for the gold medal here. But he knows that the javelin is next, and that's an area he's very strong. Jaden 3 meters 40, and Nikita Mironov of Kazakhstan, 2 meters 80, the first athlete to be eliminated in the pole vault competition. The Decathlon pole vault was an enthralling one, and it was a very successful one for Saudi Arabia as they finished top 2 in the positions. Not gold, silver, or bronze, but 1, 2, and 3. Gold, silver, and bronze will be determined by a combination of the points that are awarded for the respective number of meters cleared by these athletes. Fine competition it was for the 2 Saudi athletes. Djuraboev, though, disappointment for the overall leader. He went out at 3 meters. Mirzak looked good. Here Al Abdulbaki battling for that silver. That then concludes the morning session. We look forward to your company for the evening session on the final day of competition.